Thanks for tuning into my fourth video. This was going to be a July wrap up or even an August book haul because those are the two I had planned next. But it's going to have to be these are all the books I need to take back to the library today. So I think there's about 6 books I need to go through and I need to just get them back to the library. So the first one I've already took back to the library, but it links in. It sort of sets me off talking about the ones I'm going to talk about. So that first one is The Eye in the Door by Pat Barker, which is number 2 in the Regeneration trilogy. So I don't know if you remember, Regeneration was the first one in the series, and I talked about that a few videos ago, and I loved it. I think I gave it 4 stars. The Eye in the Door I gave 3 stars. And it's because it focuses on one of the secondary characters who I wasn't so invested in. It's a bit more, like, it's not as gripping. So his storyline was interesting, but it sort of trailed away from the themes that I liked about the first one. So that's why I didn't like it as much. It didn't deter me from wanting to go on to the third one. I knew I wanted to complete the series and I knew it'd be something I enjoyed, so I went and got the third one from the library, which is The Ghost Road. And so this one has the cover that matches the one I have of Regeneration, where it sort of links in with the silhouette. So this one was a big improvement from the second one. It did still focus on that one character that it focused on in the second, but it went back to the Doctor, Dr. Rivers, and it brought in like a flashback storyline for him, which was different from World War One, but it linked in, and it was a really gripping storyline, so I really enjoyed that. But then it did go back to purely focusing on the war, and my favourite character came back into it. The end did have me crying, but that's because I'm an emotional wreck and also really hopeless when it comes to war things. So I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I do think the first book is the best book though. Yeah, I'm sticking by that. The first book is the best. So this is a 4 star, not in the way that the first one is a 4 star. This is a little lower. Again, hate Goodreads, hate 5 stars. Like, you just can't rate things with 5 stars. It's so difficult. So the next one I have to take back is the Poetry of the World Wars, which is compiled or edited by Michael Foss. And I got this one so that I could read all the World War One poetry in between chapters of the Regeneration trilogy, which worked really, really nicely. So I'm going to stop where I am in it and give it back to the library. And then for the section where it's poetry from the between years and the section where it's poetry from World War II, I'm going to leave those for when I am reading novels that are set in those time periods, and then I'll get it back out again and do what I did with Regeneration and read them in between chapters, which I think will be really nice. So the next one I got out, and this is one of the first books ever that I've managed to get from the library where it's like fresh out, like freshly released. Because I feel like the library isn't great where I am, which is crazy because it's the big one in the centre of town, and so they should be getting in like new things as they come out, but they never do. But this one is Tinman by Sarah Winman. I heard loads of amazing stuff about this. Like, some booktubers I follow, they were giving it 5 stars, and I was so excited. In the end, I only gave it 4 stars because I wasn't as like thrilled about it as everybody else, but I did really enjoy it. It was really sad and great. So it's about 2 characters called Michael and Ellis, and the book's split in half. So the first half focuses on Ellis, who's a really quiet person, and the second half is from Michael's point of view, and he's really open, and the way each section is written really beautifully reflects the character and the personality of them, and the storyline is good. I'm not gonna give anything away, so but obviously I cried because it's me, so you know it's sad. I mean, it's gonna be sad. So the only thing I didn't like about this which isn't really a thing about the story, is that it was only 200 pages long, and I think that's probably one of the reasons I didn't enjoy it as much, is because I need stories to really like dig in and really like expand on characters and go in depth, which this just didn't and couldn't in that amount of pages. That being said, I know books that in 200 pages have managed to do that, have managed to go that deep, but this one just didn't. So 4 stars. The one I read was Vinegar Girl by Anne Tyler. So this is one in the series of the Hogarth Shakespeare series, where really popular authors sort of rewrote Shakespeare classics. So Vinegar Girl is The Taming of the Shrew, and other ones are like Margaret Atwood did a retelling of The Tempest, which is called Hagseed, I think, which I'd kind of like to read, even though I'm not a big fan of The Tempest. It's Margaret Atwood, so I'll possibly give it a go. This was an okay book. I gave it 3 stars in the end. It was just, the characters seemed a bit all over the place, especially the main character, Kate. It was like she wasn't sure who she was, and part of her character was meant to be like that. It was about her feeling a bit sort of lost at this time in her life, but it felt too lost, like Anne Tyler wasn't sure what she wanted to do. Piotr, or however you pronounce his name, I'm not even going to attempt to, I grew really fond of his character. He was really, really sweet. I liked him a lot, but again, it was 240 pages and I wasn't given enough to really get attached to the characters, and that's how I get into a book. It's purely through the characters, and the plot just felt like it sped through and sort of dumped to the end in your lap, like, there you go, that happens, bye. So yeah, it just felt a bit not awesome, not as awesome as I wanted it to be. I'll stick with the 10 Things I Hate About You for my Taming of the Shrew retellings. Thank you very much. And last but not least is What Is Not Yours Is Not Yours by Helen Oyeyemi. This is a short story collection. So first, let me tell you, before I got this out from the library, I got out a short story collection by Angela Carter, and it was not a popular one that I've ever heard of. It was a small one that apparently had been published after her death, from sort of leftover bits that they found. It was called something like Ghost Stories, American Ghost Stories and Other World Stories, something like that. And I did not like it at all. And that was the first piece of Angela Carter I've ever read, and I've wanted to read Angela Carter for a long time, so I think it was just a terrible place to start. I thought it would be a good one to go for because I don't do short stories. I know I don't automatically, but I'd never really read a short story collection before, so I thought, Angela Carter, meant to be great, let's go for it. And I just didn't enjoy it at all. And I thought, okay, that's alright, not going to let that tarnish my view of Angela Carter. I'll definitely read her novels in the future, but let's try another short story collection. So I went for this one because, again, some booktubers I follow said that it was really, really great. And I picked it up and it was really great. So I gave it 2 stars, but don't get me wrong, okay? Helen Oyeyemi can write very well. She's really good. She's got this sort of like mysterious, strange thing to her writing, and the characters are really great, and the storyline's fantastic. I just don't do short stories. Like I said before, I need to have enough to dig down into these characters and sort of know all about them and love them and go and then I can go on the plot with them. I can go on that journey. So short stories just don't work for me at all. So Helen Oyeyemi has got some novels. One of them I would really like to read is called White is for Witching, so I might pick that up soon. I will definitely give her another chance in the way that I am definitely going to give Angela Carter another chance. So that is the pile that I need to quickly get back to the library now because the deadline was today and I'm going to get charged. So I will do, my next video will be all the books I missed out talking about over July and August. But that's it for now. I felt like that was a really quick one.